Welcome to our third episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom with
Corey,
KJ,
and Mike.
Before we get into this episode, I wanted to actually explain about the podcast a little bit, is that we've taken a spare bedroom in my house, converted it into a podcast studio, and we're three nerds talking about everything nerdy that we can think about, from movies to TV shows. I'm sure there'll be other stuff that you two want to talk about when we get there.
Magic.
Hence the name of the podcast. We should also mention, if this is your first episode that you're listening to us, if you ever go back to the first episode of our podcast, sound quality is definitely not great, as we were using just an iPhone. And then the second and third episode, we actually expensed, we'll say, new equipment that now makes us actually sound professional.
You're welcome.
We
also have intro music this time that you should have just heard, and we feel like we're stepping up in the world a little bit. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube, we're going to be up on a few other spaces. We've now got almost every social media there is, from Twitter to Instagram to Facebook to TikTok to all these things.
We're on TikTok?
We are on TikTok. There's no videos there yet. Hopefully by the time
this
comes out...
It's just KJ dancing on something.
I mean, if it gets the views, I'm fine with this.
It is very...
Subscribe.
So if you do end up hearing this podcast and you have any feedback, you can feel free to reach out to us, talkingnerdyinthebedroom@gmail.com, or leave a comment on YouTube. We'd be happy to hear what you guys have to say so we can try to make this podcast better.
Our loyal fan.
The one person listening. I will take their advice. So I did get a couple little pieces of feedback from the last couple episodes, is that we had a hard time remembering names of certain characters or movies. We also had times where we called Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man Far From Home, and nobody caught it.
Yeah, you do that all the time.
Oh, I absolutely do. But again, nobody caught it.
Well, I didn't want to correct you on the live air,
yes,
but
yes.
Dude, how many times have I said that to you? You always say Far From Home.
Yeah, it comes off the tongue easier than No Way Home. Now that we have the better setup and we can try to catch things in real time with a better editing software, hopefully that won't be a thing. Now we're going to talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which, as of the other day, was sitting at 75% critical acclaim on Rotten Tomatoes, 87% for the audience on Rotten Tomatoes. So what do you think it is, Corey? 1 out of 10. Or if you want to do what Rotten Tomatoes did out of 100, what are you thinking? I'm
going to start with a 6.5 out of 10, but reserve final judgment till I watch it again at home.
So you've only seen it once, that we saw it in theaters.
Yeah, and I do feel like it's one of those movies that I might appreciate more the second time around.
Ugh.
Because the first time I didn't appreciate it that much. There were good moments, but yeah, 6.5 out of 10. We'll get into more in a minute, but... What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, what do you think, Mike?
I mean, I'm right there with you. I think 6.5 to 7 is
generous.
Yeah, very, very generous. Let's put it that way. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. It kept your attention, but it was all over the place. It was more madness than Multiverse.
It was a Sam Raimi movie. Like, I feel like the original Spider-Man was kind of quirky, but it was still Spider-Man, and this felt like an Evil Dead offshoot to me.
It was more a horror movie than
it was
superhero Marvel.
It was supposed to be. That was the design of the movie, to be a horror movie, the first Marvel horror movie.
And from my understanding, it's getting a lot of flack online for not being rated R.
They were surprised that it wasn't rated R. I don't know about flack, but they could have gone darker if it was rated R. There was also people that were surprised it didn't get rated R with the type of violence that it did have in it. Before we jump too much into the movie, I'll say, obviously, spoilers are coming if people didn't already know that. But for me, it was a 7.5. I liked it apparently more than you guys.
It's a first.
But it was okay. I think we all had high expectations going into the movie, which I think was a letdown. It wasn't like Spider-Man No Way Home, where I had the high expectations.
Far From Home.
No, where I had the high expectations, but then it lived up to it and then potentially exceeded it. This is that movie where I had the high expectations and it was subdued quite a bit. But it's still, if you take it just on merit alone, it's not a bad movie. I will agree with what Corey said. It's a Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah. I forgot
before it's a Marvel movie, it is definitely his type of movie first.
Yeah.
If nobody's knew who the director was, as you said, which is, I think, only so like an hour or so through the movie, you're like, oh yeah, Sam Raimi actually directed this, because you could just you could tell just via the cinematography and the direction style that it was taking. You're like, oh, this is exactly him.
Not to mention the Bruce Campbell cameo, which is a staple in any Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, unless he's the main character, he's gonna be in the movie one way or another.
I feel like the cameos made the movie better for me, like seeing the nostalgia of the Charles Xavier in the yellow hover chair
from the comics.
Seeing that as like stereotypical Charles Xavier, I was like, okay, I can get into this a little bit.
I will say the only part about that I didn't like is when they were showing how they killed Thanos, and then Doctor Strange gets murdered by, God, what's his name for the Inhumans?
Black Bolt.
Yeah, gets murdered by Black Bolt. It just looked out of place.
The hover chair.
Yeah,
it looked enormous. Right?
It just looked so out of place compared to everything else on that scene. It was just completely different, and it didn't fit that scene. It fit when they were
when he was at the top of the tribunal.
Absolutely,
right?
It fit perfectly there. But then to take that exact thing over to Titan,
he's like driving a semi into the middle of a battlefield.
Not to mention battlefield. There's no scratches on it. There's nothing.
Well, it's fine. Charles Xavier. He's not like he's not on the front lines.
Well, and that's his memory he's projecting to them, right? At that point, because he's like, "I'll show you what happened" or whatever. So when you're seeing that, it's him showing the main character, Doctor Strange, what happened to the old Doctor Strange. So maybe he's compensating and be like, look how big I am, guys.
How did we all feel about the cliche showing the psychic ability of Charles Xavier through the waves?
I mean, it's a superhero trope that they do.
The very comic book-esque.
Well, they did that in Spider-Man No Way Home as well. Thanks for the cough, Corey.
Sorry.
They did that in Spider-Man No Way Home as well, when Doctor Strange hits Peter in the chest, and then Peter's astral form shows, and Spider-Man is still sitting there, and he keeps lifting his arms, and Doctor Strange can't understand why he can't grab the item from him. You can see those little waves off of Spider-Man's head, and for him, that's his Spidey sense, not showing the psychic ability that Professor X had. But I feel like it's a way to show a layman that something else is going on.
I thought it was another throwback to like the comic version, because
that's what I'm saying.
That's how they always portrayed it
the
in the
comic book
and the animated series. Yeah.
Right. So with Doctor Strange, we got to see a lot of characters we saw from the first movie. Obviously, we saw Christine again. We saw the other surgeon that I can't remember his name now showing up at her wedding. He was in the first one, Nico or something like that, if I remember correctly, which I don't.
I don't know.
I didn't remember him at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the only other surgeon in the first movie that kind of has a rivalry with Doctor Strange to begin with.
Until they were at the end credits, I thought it was Joaquin Phoenix.
No, it's not Joaquin Phoenix.
Looks like Joaquin Phoenix.
It's not Joaquin Phoenix.
Chunkier version.
We got to meet America Chavez, who is not Miss Marvel, Corey.
Yeah, I know.
See, I thought that too when I saw like the star and everything. All right, so the more nerdy of the trio, can you please elaborate on America Chavez? Like, where do we... This is the first time we see her?
Yeah, it's the first time you ever see her within the MCU.
Where does she fit in the multiverse?
So she's only in one multiverse.
Yeah, I mean, she debuted in Vengeance #1, which I've also never heard of. No, it's not Batman. That would be... Well, I mean, multiverse, right? She's from the DC universe.
She's actually...
That's probably why she left. She saw how their movies were doing.
Yeah. There's no way I'm going to make money here.
So we only see one power of hers in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but apparently she has others in the comics.
Well, you see the abnormal punch, the superhuman
she's
punch.
Got power, super.
So she can she technically can punch her way into the multiverses. Like when she punches the Scarlet Witch, it actually breaks space-time.
Yes. But I don't know if that's from the punch doing it or she's doing two things at once. Is she just punching really hard while also opening? Or is it because the punch is so hard that it opens? I have no idea. They haven't explained that.
To me, it looked like she was using her energy and it empowered the punch. It wasn't that she was opening a portal at that point.
With America Chavez, we got a character that we've never seen before introduced into the MCU, which I think for a layman person, and even for us, because we don't really know that much about her, was an interesting take. I don't necessarily think that was the right move, but when you then factor in Wanda's and that she's on this hunt for this person that can jump universes, I thought it fit fine, but it felt like it could have been something more, that we should have been able to go through different universes without this person needing to be scared for her life. That way we could actually see other universes, not just... We saw 3 main universes. We saw Earth 616, which is in the comics, the one that we referenced last time, number 199999.
Right, so
that's the exact same thing as Earth 616 in the MCU.
The MCU is 616.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So we got to see that one, Earth 616. We also got to see the Illuminati Earth, which was Earth 838, I think is what it was called, with the Illuminati. And then we got to see the collapsing world, or the incursion world, a world that had an incursion, which is where you see the sinister Doctor Strange. Those are the only 3 we actually spent any real time in, which was disappointing for me, with the name of it being Multiverse of Madness. It does say multiverse, not multiverses of madness, but I would have thought that we would have been going more places through the movie. There would have been more
Should have had some air quotes around multiverse.
Yeah, so some feedback that I got from other people that have watched the movie that haven't seen or look at as many comic books is, it'd be kind of a cool thing to see, like kind of like a chase scene through the different multiverses, or maybe not really like a scavenger hunt, but need to pick up different things along the way in different multiverses, instead of just being at one, then at another, movie over.
So I also think if you look at Spider-Man No Way Home, you only see one universe. You see Earth 616. You get characters from other universe, but you're only seeing one universe. This one, you're seeing 3 actual universes that they were in. So I feel like this is just them taking their little baby steps until we get... This has to be setting up Secret Wars. Secret Wars is all about the different universes and the characters battling each other. So I have to assume that's where we're headed. Where we go from here with the other movies that are coming out, from Black Panther to the next Ant-Man to the Marvels, I'm not sure how it's going to come back to the Doctor Strange part of it.
Well, we're setting up
universes.
We're setting up Doctor Strange for his significant other too, as well, right?
Clea.
Clea.
So that's the first end credit scene. We get to see Charlize Theron.
Yep.
Yeah. Be Clea, who is
She's
actually
been doing a lot of movies lately.
Yeah.
I'm excited for her character more than America Chavez, even.
I think she's got a deeper background, and I think, we all knew of Clea, I assume, more than we knew about America Chavez.
Yeah.
Dormammu's
daughter.
Niece. Relative of some
Pretty sure
kind.
it's the daughter.
It's niece.
It's daughter.
Okay.
I looked it up before the podcast.
I'm going to look it up right now. I'm pretty wrong.
That's fine.
Okay, so relative, right?
Yeah.
So Dormammu's relative, and that's why when you see her come out of the multiverse, you see Dormammu's realm in the background.
Correct. The dark universe, or whatever it's called.
Talking about dark things, how does the Scarlet Witch destroy all the dark holds?
Much.
What's that?
Her being as super powerful as she was is fantastic through that movie.
Just
the Scarlet Witch?
Yeah.
You would think that you would see her powers more throughout the whole movie. Like, you see her in WandaVision, and she, like, completely reshapes reality. You really only see that once when she changes
Black Bolt's
mouth.
So
and the rest is she's just throwing red firebolts.
I know.
Here's the thing,
it's so inconsistent in how, like, okay, she can do that, but yet other times, like you said, she's just throwing firebolts.
Right, and she has like omnipotent power.
She doesn't have omnipotent power in this universe. When she is dream walking into the other Wanda, what is her name? Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen?
Thank you. Elizabeth Olsen did an interview where she said when she's dream walking, she has way less power than when she is the Scarlet Witch in Universe Earth 616.
That doesn't make any sense.
Changes Black Bolt's mouth
when she's
dreamwalking.
I understand, but maybe that took it out of her and she wasn't able to do everything again.
Nah, that's reaching.
I didn't see any sweat.
Justifying.
I'm just saying, that's what she said. And she actually said that she was supposed to kill more people of the Illuminati. So there were supposed to be more Illuminati members.
Also, for our viewers that love to...
The viewers?
See...
Do you mean the listeners?
The listeners who love to hear KJ be wrong. Clea is the niece of Dormammu. She's the offspring of Prince Orini and Umar, who is the sister of Dormammu. Suck it! And now I feel even nerdier.
All right, anyway. So she is supposed to be a giant love interest from the comics for Doctor Strange, so we'll see how that one goes.
And future Sorceress Supreme, too, after Doctor Strange.
Clea?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes, but I have to imagine that her taking him into the dark universe is setting up, again, Secret Wars, because they're talking about an incursion happening. So
yeah.
At that point, I have to imagine other universes are merging together or colliding together, with one of them going to win out over the other, or both die off. So who are they going to get to, I guess, fight during this? And is it going to be an Avengers level Secret Wars? Is it just going to be a movie called Secret Wars? I don't know. Are they going to ruin Secret Wars, which I would be very upset about?
Like a 2-part series like Avengers?
It should be more than that in my mind, but 2 solid movies would be good. If you got an Infinity War type of movie and an Endgame type of movie, I think I'd be happy with like roughly 5
building up
5.5 hours.
to the climax and then
correct
second movie.
Yeah, building up to some midpoint where you're just like, oh my god, like when Thanos snapped, to this next part would be awesome. But part of Secret Wars is bringing everybody together, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, or I don't understand how they're going to do that, because the way they did this one, I didn't feel it was that great, because we didn't get to see many different versions. We saw, how many? 3 different Doctor Stranges?
Yeah, right? One, you see the one that's like
we saw Defender
evil.
Strange in the very beginning.
Yeah.
We saw Doctor Strange from Earth 616. We got to see Sinister Doctor Strange, and we got to see the Doctor Strange that... In the memory.
Yeah.
So we got to see 4 different Doctor Stranges that never interacted with one another. Like, no character interacted with themselves in this movie, besides for Wanda.
I had read a rumor, too, that when they're going through, like, all the universes, because technically we did see more than 3, because they go through like the Paint universe.
You don't see the other Doctor Stranges. You see him.
No.
Through.
But what I'm saying is, earlier we said you only see 3 universes.
You only take part in 3. You actually see 16.
Yeah, he smashes through 16 universes.
Supposedly, one of those I read online. Somebody was saying that it's the Star Wars universe.
So there's a robotic universe that people are talking about that's not confirmed to be Star Wars, but it could eventually become canon, or it's just a robotic
Disney
one.
owns them both.
I know.
Yeah. See Darth Vader fight like Thor and stuff. Yeah. Far From Home.
A long time ago in Far From Home.
Yeah.
So we also see a reality when they're smashing through those 16. We see the Living Tribunal, like we see one of their heads smashed on the ground somewhere, too, as it's smashing through those 16 different realities from Loki, the the Living Tribunal.
Gotcha.
We also have the Incursion universe. We also see there's one when there's bees. Everybody's a bee, which is super weird. And I don't know why we saw it, but it was a nice little Easter egg, I guess.
It's like a Rick and Morty episode.
Yeah, there was an ocean one. There was a painted one. There was a cubic one. Like when they all get divided into cubes. Yeah. So there was a lot of that, but it meant nothing. Like it was a cool little Easter egg for half a second, but that was all it was. Unfortunately. Like you get the little snippet. But if you remember back to Doctor Strange 1, that's kind of what they did in that movie too. When she shoves him out into the astral plane and then shows him all these other universes, you only get like a few seconds of it. You're not there for that long. You're there longer than you are in Doctor Strange 2, but in that one you see the astral plane, the mandibulis dimension, which is about repeating patterns. You get the grass jelly dimension, the flowering incense dimension, which, okay. But again, they're just little snippets that you see similar to this one, which is disappointing when this one is called Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
So that's why I had an issue with it and left disappointed.
Well, so that's what I was saying. Like, you know, if they had to get to the good book, help me here.
Oh, the book that's in the
Darkhold?
Well, no, the opposite.
Yeah. I don't remember what it's called.
Right. So, okay, we'll call
the Lighthold.
Yeah, the Lighthold.
It's not called the Lighthold.
So, you know, if they were trying to get to that, like, if they should have gone through, you know, this dimension and that dimension or universe, you know, so we could see a little bit more of the quote-unquote multiverse and the madness that surrounds it. I guess my other issue is let's go back to the book. You're not the Sorcerer Supreme, but you're very high up there. I mean, what is he now?
I mean, he's basically the Sorcerer Supreme.
Okay,
Wong just took it because he blipped. So.
Right. So you have this vault, and the vault goes to the most important book in the universe, and the only thing that holds the lock is your watch.
Yeah, but it's a symbolic watch.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I get
that was in the other universe. That was in universe 838 with the Illuminati.
True.
So in that universe, he was the one that did everything and then set this up so only he could go into that book because he is the Sorcerer Supreme.
But anybody with the watch could get in.
If they knew that the watch meant that it was to open that.
I guess.
Yeah, it's like if you had a secret cabinet.
If you're like the highest sorcerer in the galaxy, or in the universe, rather, and you have the ability to lock this chamber with a spell, and you choose to use a Rolex.
Yeah, but to be fair, I hate justifying. That's what KJ always does. But you could say that maybe it had to be him that, like, there was a spell that he had to be the one to place the watch on, and we just don't, like, know that.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No, I just think
I hate being that guy.
I just think the watch is significant. It's from the first one. Christine gives it to him. Yeah. It's the only watch that he keeps keeping when he goes to Comatose.
Right, but it's not even like it has to be that watch because he uses the watch from his own universe,
which is the exact same watch.
That the universe knows that?
I mean, the spell apparently knows it.
It could be any watch from any universe.
You also have to keep in mind that this is the universe of, like, being overconfident. Like, he's probably like, nobody would think of this. Because think about the Illuminati. Doctor Strange is like, Wanda's coming. She's going to, mess you guys up. And they're like, we can handle Wanda. 5 minutes. Not even 5 30 minutes. Seconds. And half of them are dead. And then the last 2 are getting their butt kicked.
Yeah.
Like... And the funniest part is I'm pretty sure it's
Krasinski getting turned into spaghetti.
Mr. Fantastic's the one, like, we can handle her. And immediately gets shredded. Yeah. And I love that they say, during that fight, they go, Black Bolt could kill you with a word. And he smirks. And then he goes to say something. And, oh, well, I don't have a mouth anymore. And then his head.
But he still talks, exactly. Yeah. Like, he tries to talk with no mouth and he just blows his hand up.
Yeah. I don't know if he was trying to talk or if he was trying to scream.
Yeah, I think he was freaking out. Like,
Yeah.
think Matrix when Keanu Reeves
Yeah, he freaks out and tries to scream, but if he's got no mouth there, it's got to go somewhere. The explosion.
I loved the way that took him out. But
oh yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, that was cool. But it was just
her whole
that's what I mean.
fight
This
scene
whole
was great.
universe was so overconfident in their abilities that it's
they did defeat Thanos on Titan without half the universe going away. I'd be pretty confident too.
Well, how did that work for them?
It didn't work great.
Maybe everybody in that universe is just like somewhat stupid. Like Thanos was a little dumber. And then when somebody from another universe shows up, it just messes up their whole day.
Well, you realize that the only person that's left there, like everybody from the Illuminati, is dead except for one guy, which is Carl Mordo, the one who hugs Stephen Strange when he first gets to the Illuminati place.
His first name is Carl?
His first name is Carl. Carl Mordo.
That's... What's your name? Mordo. What's your first name? Carl!
Don't worry about it. Just call me Carl. Mordo.
Yeah.
Carl!
George.
So he's the only one left there. Like, everybody else is dead.
Did Professor X get killed?
Yeah.
Yeah. She
snapped his neck.
Yeah, in his like mind though, and it's still
when he was in her mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, but then it shows him flop over on his little.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. They're all dead, which I thought was great. I also realized that they've released this movie on Mother's Day weekend, and it's all about a mother trying to get back her kids, and she just starts murdering everybody.
Trying to steal her kids from somebody.
Right. Don't mess with a mother on Mother's Day.
I guess not. No, she will run right through you. But I loved her scenes, Wanda's, from the beginning, from the start where they first show you where she's created this whole fake world of trees, and then accidentally slips up by calling America her real name rather than just some girl that he found that somebody is chasing. I loved her scene in Kamatosh where she does mind control similar to what she did in Age of Ultron. And
Why did Doctor Strange go to her in the first place? Sure. There's no justification for why he goes to her for her witchcraft knowledge, because he never was aware.
She doesn't even know she's a witch until she goes into that secret lair.
When she talks to Agatha,
right?
Yeah, Harkness.
Which I'm sure she probably didn't share with anyone.
Right. So that's my point. There's no connection to how he would go, she knows a lot about witchcraft, let's go to her. It just seemed like they wanted that to happen, and they just kind of skipped over the logic of it.
Well, what other Avenger would he potentially... Besides for that, I agree with you, that's a little sketchy. But if you needed another powerful Avenger, who else would you go to for help? Thor's off-world. Thor's on Asgard, or off with the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, I don't even know why you would go to another Avenger. His whole reason was he needed knowledge about witchcraft, so there are no Avengers that, to his knowledge, he would go to himself. Right. He's the magic Avenger.
Ignore that. If you just needed help with this, trying to protect her from whatever's coming from other dimensions.
Well, that's not what
he was doing two different things. He did say that.
Okay, so if he needed protection for her, I would imagine he would just go to the actual Avengers.
Which Avengers?
No, I'm saying like Avengers headquarters.
Who's left to be an Avenger?
The only real solution
who's left to be the Avenger? You got Falcon, who can fly around, and you got the new Captain America, which is Falcon, so he's got a shield, so he can fly and he's got a shield.
Spider-Man,
who he doesn't know now. He just knows of Spider-Man. And you have the Winter Soldier, who's just got the arm, not gonna help too much from other dimensional demons or things. What's S.H.I.E.L.D. going to help with?
I don't know. What's Wanda going to help with?
I don't know. She is this hugely powerful being that they do know due to Infinity War and due to Endgame. So if I was going to try to find the person that's the strongest, that's on world, that's not Thor, that's the person I would go to.
Well, also, if I thought witchcraft was coming after her, I wouldn't go to the Avengers anyway. I'd go to that Taj Mahal or whatever they called it, where they tried to defend her from Wanda. Where you have all these other magic
That's
users.
where they were.
I would have just stayed there and summoned all the other people like they did when they knew Wanda was coming after them. I don't understand why like getting Wanda's help would... And that wasn't what he said. He said, I'm going to go to the most powerful witch I know.
Sure, but then when he's talking to her, he's like, I need your help defending this.
Yeah, right.
Defending
No,
this child.
when he sees the runes on it, he says that's runes of witchcraft.
Right.
Yes.
And he wants to. Right. I see where Corey's coming from.
Yeah, he shouldn't know that she's a witch if she just found out.
And if he did, then he would perceivably also know that she was the Scarlet Witch. And then at that point, I mean, I can't imagine Wong was with him before. He goes, I'm going to go see... My question as Wong would be like, why are you going to go see her? She doesn't know anything about witchcraft. Oh, no, she does. She's the new Scarlet Witch or something. And Wong goes, maybe don't see her.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a hole in that movie.
Yeah, big one.
Didn't even occur to me until right now that you're saying that. I just was well, of course he'd go see her. She's a witch.
Because we know that.
She doesn't openly go out and say, I'm the Scarlet Witch until that scene, though, right? Until after he's already talked to her.
She says it during WandaVision, but yes, she doesn't outly tell anybody about it.
Right, so neither one of them would know that she is the Scarlet Witch until after he already said something, and then he says something to Wong, then Wong's like, oh, she's the Scarlet Witch? Like,
that's a problem.
Yeah. But, so that wouldn't prevent Wong from telling Doctor Strange...
But did you guys have a problem with Wanda's performance in the movie as her character? Like,
other than, like I said, the inconsistencies in her power, because there were times where she was like, I'm gonna make it so Black Bolt, who's supposed to be super powerful and can destroy the whole planet with his, words. I'm going to make it so he can't talk and he kills himself. I'm going to shred Mr. Fantastic in 2 seconds. And then I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes throwing energy balls at people. If you can just do that without actually... How do you miss? I'm going to shred you and you and you and you and you.
I don't know. I
guess I had a plot hole with like, not the Wanda portion of it, but with Wong giving up the location of the temple over 5 disciples after he let 3,000 of them die.
Yeah.
Well,
because did she bring them back to life? Weren't they already dead? Did she bring them back to life to then kill them again?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's the Book of Vishanti.
Vishanti.
The Vishanti.
The good
Vishanti. So, and that's the antithesis of the Book of the Evil Dead. What?
Darkhold, yeah.
And
it's Darquue.
For dark?
Darkhold.
I did not know that.
That seems unnecessary.
I was going to say, I never would have spelled it that way.
So I've been told.
So, with that in mind, this goes back to the comic of House of M for Wanda. In that, people tell her that her kids aren't real, which in this universe they aren't, and she just goes ballistic trying to find her kids and just starts murdering everybody. So this is exactly that story.
So the other thing I don't understand is there's, possibly infinite universes, right?
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't just try to find one where her kids were alive and she wasn't.
I think it was her having this particular dream that's the universe she wanted to find.
Oh, okay.
Well, she also had to dream walk into the universe, right? So that she couldn't dream walk into a universe she doesn't exist in.
That's also true. If she was trying to see a universe with her boys. So if she would have taken America Chavez's power and didn't want those specific 2 boys that she dream walked into, or just dreamed into, then you're probably right. She could have done that. She could have just found a universe where she died, but the boys are alive.
Right.
But
I don't think she got to that point. I'm sure that's probably the end game for her, but...
Yeah, this is the one that she was dreaming about, which meant it was another reality, and then these are the boys I want, because the boys are happy and alive.
The other thing that confuses me is she makes this town with Vision alive and her 2 boys, right? So the assumption is that Vision was their father, which is kind of how you know it's fake, because he's a robot.
Well, not necessarily. Either things could have been done in a certain universe where he wasn't all fake, or it's just her
Are
power,
you a pleasure bot?
or it's her using her own power and made the boys real, not just within this confined space of the town she took over. She could have still just made the boys off of hers and vision in her mind, and they were real and they stayed.
So why couldn't she just do that again?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
That's what I mean.
No answer.
This whole movie had a lot of plot holes to me, and then it had a lot of failing expectations, and it just had a lot of inconsistencies too.
The failing expectations, I think, is on us.
Well, yes and no, because like one of them is right in the title, like you guys were saying. It didn't bother me as much as it bothered you guys, but
It says multiverse. It's one.
right, yeah,
It's one of madness.
but what I mean is, I think everybody expected it to be a little bit more than just. I mean, it's basically 2 if you really get down to it.
Yeah, it's 3 total that you
Yeah.
actually spend more than 5 minutes, or more than 2 seconds in, I should say.
Yeah, because the one with the evil strange is pretty boring.
But you're there for a decent amount of time. They have that musical fight.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot about that. I hated that.
Yeah, I hated that too.
I didn't mind it at all.
Like chucking the
I don't think
music notes.
I don't think it fit. Like, I was like, what are we doing?
Ugh.
But I liked the imagery of it. But I was just like, why? Why are we doing this?
Dun,
You've
dun,
never
dun,
done
dun.
this before.
Yeah,
Like, I
like
could-
literally every other time you see him fight somebody, it's always, I got these gold discs that are my blockers, and then I'm gonna fling this like golden energy cord at you.
Yeah.
And that's like it.
So I could understand Sinister doing it because he's been in that universe forever. He was using different spells. He does the music one. I've got no problem with that. Then our Doctor Strange decides, yep, I know what I'm going to do. I'm also going to do a music spell.
Well, maybe you can only fight a music spell with a music spell.
They didn't explain that, but it's very possible.
They didn't explain shit.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know. The more I talk about this movie, the more it's like a 6.
That's what I'm saying.
I need to go see it again. I really do, without the
It
expectations.
was fresh in my mind from last night.
That's true.
The other thing that got me was the heavy, I don't want to say notion, but like the emphasis on the eye. Like the first creature you see is literally an eyeball with legs, and then you see the evil Doctor Strange with the third eye, and at the end the eye,
Well,
and
that's
then
the
the end credits.
Eye of Agamotto. I think it's supposed to be what that is. Instead of it being down here around his neck, it's supposed to now be up here.
Yeah, but they did a very heavy.
It was supposed to be horror. That's a horror thing.
Just one eye.
Well, just an eye being up there or being chased by an eye. Do you ever think about like a needle going in your eye? It makes you squeamish. So it's a horror
Or a street
trope.
sign, apparently.
That's fair. But yeah, it's just a horror trope, and I think that's what they were trying for there. But I didn't like that at the very end for the first after credit scene that he gets the eye. I've got no problem with that. And then the second after credit scene where Clea shows up, everything's fine. He doesn't have the eye now. Well, him getting the eye is right at the end, not during the post-credit scene. But he's got the eye, and it's like, oh my god, I've got the eye. What do I got to need to do now? Post-credit scene, Clea's there, and he's all like, yeah, let's go. I've got my eye. We're good. We can do this. Like, there's no, oh my god, now I have an
I'm
eye.
assuming that the third eye at the end of the movie is him now having part of the Darkhold in him, right? Because the evil Doctor Strange says you can't use or read the Darkhold without it becoming part of you or it consuming you, and him having the third
barely
eye.
used it, but I guess I consider it him leveling up as
Well,
a wizard.
he used a pretty gnarly spell. I mean, he brought himself back from the dead, which was a big no-no. That's why all of the demons were trying to drag him back down.
Well, he didn't. He dreamwalked into a dead body,
Right, which was a, you know,
it was a Deadite from Evil Dead.
It
That's all I
was.
could think. Is like, God, is Sam Raimi just making Evil Dead 3?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, we did have Bruce Campbell.
and his was like a direct cameo of
Bruce,
his
I
of
felt
Ash.
like of
yeah.
Bruce Campbell.
He was doing all the same mannerisms when he's fighting
the hand.
himself. Yeah.
Which was good. Did you stay for all the credits and see the very end where...
the
Bruce
second post-credit scene.
Yeah, with Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
It says
this
it's
is
over.
the end. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's over. That
Yeah.
was rough.
Yeah, so I wish it was more, but Marvel does that sometimes where they do just a nothing end credit scene because they've done enough. And it was also just a nod to Bruce Campbell, a nod to Sam Raimi.
Yeah, so I was told that there was 2 post-credit scenes. So I stayed for the first one. I was like, oh, this has some information that is going to lead towards... Right. And then I sat through all the scroll, and that's like the worst part to sit through, and you're like, okay, this post-credit scene better be the good one. It was bad.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think it was bad. It just wasn't worth
it was a big middle finger.
It was definitely a big
Oh, you guys want to say for this post-credit scene? Okay, here you go. Here's 10 seconds.
Did you guys pick up on, because I didn't until after the movie, that Captain Marvel in the Illuminati universe isn't... Obviously, it's not the Captain Marvel in our universe or the other new Captain Marvel in our universe.
It's her co-pilot friend, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's the co-pilot's daughter.
No, not in the Illuminati one. That's what's going to be. In the new one, the Marvels, it's going to be her and her daughter. In this one, it's her. It's the friend. She is Miss Marvel. It's the same actress.
Not the one that was in WandaVision?
So no, that's the one that's going to be in the Marvels with Brie Larson and her being the Marvels. This one in the Illuminati universe is her mom, the one from the original Captain Marvel.
Interesting.
Yes.
Totally thought that was the same person.
So did I.
WandaVision.
But it's Maria Rambeau instead of her daughter Monica.
Yeah.
Her daughter is going to be in the Marvels, but it's Maria in this one.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. And I love seeing Peggy Carter again as Captain Britain, except for, getting sliced in half.
Captain Carter.
It's Captain Britain.
I know, so I said that in the last podcast, but it is actually Captain Carter.
We're going to go with Captain Britain. Okay. It sounds better.
Well, I was confused because there is a Captain Britain, but I think it's in DC.
Yeah.
That's why I was like,
when you said that, I was like, that doesn't sound right. We got to see Billy and Tommy again, briefly, who are supposed to be in the Young Avengers, if that ever comes out. So.
The weird thing, though, is, I wonder if they're supposed to have powers in that universe, because you don't see them use any powers.
You barely see them, but yeah, they don't show the powers.
Yeah.
Do we think that we're going to see a good Fantastic Four with Reed Richards as John Krasinski?
Krasinski. And he has not signed on for the movie.
But he wants to.
There's talk that he wants to, and he should want to, especially how good this was.
Right, openly said that he's wanted to play that character for a long time.
I know him and Emily, he's married to Emily Blunt, and I know they talked a long time ago in an interview about the potential of being... Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
And she actually would be good in that role too, I think. She looks the part.
But she pulled a Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in an interview a week or two ago before the movie came out. I have no idea. There's been no talks. We haven't been contacted by Marvel at all. And then, oh, look, there's John Krasinski in the new Doctor Strange movie.
See, I feel like it's definitely going to happen. But I also, now I'm more curious who would end up playing Johnny Storm and the Thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it necessarily matters who plays the Thing.
It does. I actually liked Michael Chiklis as the Thing.
Yeah, me too.
In that campy version, sure. I had no problem with him.
I mean, he was 100 times better than the realistic version in that new one.
Well, that was just a bad movie.
Yeah.
That's who we should have got from the cameos. Just the terrible people, those terrible characters.
They could have all died. I would have been fine with that.
Got murdered right away.
I'd be like, is that Killmonger?
Hey now. So there were other Easter eggs in the movie too, because I know we talked last week about some Easter eggs.
Before we move on to Easter eggs, I did want to say, because we were talking about characters who are going to be remade, and so Black Bolt is leader of the Inhumans, and they had an awful TV show that came out and got canceled.
I liked the Inhumans more than I liked
Eternals?
Eternals.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that show was awful though.
I like anything.
It wasn't
more
great,
than crap.
But it was just a bad movie.
But
a bad TV show.
I didn't hate
Inhumans?
I didn't hate Inhumans by any means, and they had good actors and actresses, I thought, in it too. But I'm excited because Kevin Feige said that there's potential to make an Inhumans series on Disney Plus now.
Which would do away with the other one. Or the other one would have been in a different universe.
Yeah, or it could be a sequel or something.
I don't think it'll be a sequel. I think they'd start all over.
Probably, but it's hard because, like, Black Bolt's a really cool character. There's a lot of really cool characters, but then you have, like, Medusa, who's a main character, and her power is her hair. It's just not that interesting of a superpower, and I don't really blame the TV show for not being able to portray it that well, because...
Well, if you're doing a movie, you've got more money. Or if you're doing a Disney
right, but
Plus
how do you portray that power to
in a
be
cool way?
Cool, right?
Yeah.
To be cinematically.
How do you portray luck like they did in Deadpool 2 with Domino to make it look cool?
Easy. You do what they did.
Yeah. That's my point. They made it look cool. So if they can do that, they have the ability to make any superpower potentially.
I feel like it's the same reason why they haven't used Jubilee as one of the X-Men.
Well, at least she
like you have the power. She has the power of fireworks. Yeah, very small fireworks.
It's better than like my split ends choking you. Like that's literally what was in the TV show.
The power of a bad haircut.
And exactly. I remember in the TV show. Now that you just said that, the way they neutralize her is they cut off her hair.
They give her a bob.
Yeah, and like. That's all you have to do to take away her power?
She's now Ultra Karen.
Get the shears, though, and she's useless? Oh, that was so frustrating. And the fact that she's, like, the queen of the Inhumans is even weirder to me. Because, like, Black Bolt is the most powerful. I get it. And then you have the queen who...
But is he the king? Hair. Is he the king?
Yeah. Is
it because they're married?
Well, obviously, but I'm just saying, like...
Then I don't think that matters.
Yeah, but people... I don't know.
It's not like she's the strongest. That's why she's the queen.
No, I got you. It's going to be a hierarchy of good superpowers.
Yeah.
Like, how do you become the queen?
She's really good in the sack. That's all she's got to do.
Maybe she could do weird things with her hair.
I'm just saying.
Hair drop.
Okay, so moving past
Apologies to our female listeners.
Moving past that to talking about the Easter eggs. So Sam Raimi's car that has been in every movie that he's ever done.
That yellow, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's like an Oldsmobile or something.
Yeah, so it's there when they enter the collapsing universe. It's there floating around.
Oh, cool. I didn't notice that.
Which is interesting just because it's been in every movie. It's the car that Bruce Campbell drives in The Evil Dead, so you go through all of those movies with it. Every movie that he's had, even in the Spider-Man movies, it was in all of them. They had a couple other ones. Obviously, the watch is technically an Easter egg.
Was there a license plate Easter egg?
I didn't see one.
What was the car in Spider-Man? Was it the car Uncle Ben drives Peter in, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I never even thought of that.
That is that car. That then ends up sitting in, like, Aunt May's driveway in, like, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not sure
she didn't
what
get
they
rid
did
of the
in
car.
3. What?
She didn't get rid of the car.
Well, he didn't die in the car. He died because he wouldn't give up the car.
Outside the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 2 feet away.
She won't go to that spot on the sidewalk, but the car's
fine.
She's
keeping the car.
Yeah. So another one is that the relic callback, that thing that in Doctor Strange, the first one where he's fighting... Oh, what is his name?
Dormammu?
No. Before that, the Calicius or
I don't know what his name is. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen.
Mikkelsen. Mads.
So when he's fighting him and he grabs the relic to do something, and he's like, "You don't actually know what that does, do you?" And he doesn't know what it does.
Is that the firing pot thing that she uses?
And then this time, Christine knows what it does to get away all those things that are attacking. So that's a little callback to the first movie.
So she knows about the multiverses, and she's like a multiversal scientist of some kind?
Yep.
So she also knows how to use all these relics?
Well, she was kind of with Doctor Strange in this universe, too, so I'm sure he showed her, and she studied them.
You just hold a candle to this and watch out.
Well, I mean, they probably explain, like, how to use it. She's probably tested it before. I don't know. They were together in that universe for a little bit.
This is a spirit cannon. Be careful.
Well, she has to study everything to try to understand the universe that they're in, the other universes that are coming, that are potentially coming. I don't think it's a stretch. I think she studied everything.
How does she know what's going to work on the spirits?
Again, if she knew about it because she studied it, she would know it works on everything.
Yes.
The only other one that I know of for an Easter egg is the Baxter Foundation. And that's where Christine is working out of. That's where she's a scientist.
Yeah, I caught that one in the movie.
Yeah,
she says that.
Yeah, and that's where Reed Richards and Ben Grimm studied.
Well, it's the Fantastic Four's headquarters is the Baxter building.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then the Baxter Foundation is the place where they get taken when they're kids, when they get picked to be, because they're super smart right from an early age in the comics. When they're talking about their backstory.
Who is?
Both Reed Richards and
Fantastic
Ben Grimm.
Four. Oh, Ben Grimm is?
Yeah, in one of the comic runs anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't remember that.
So those are the only Easter eggs that I saw. I'm sure there's a bunch of them that the sleuths will eventually come out with and find. Maybe there's a license plate. I don't really know.
I'm sure.
But yeah, for me, I still like the movie. I need to see it again to really determine
how bad it was.
Not how bad, just if my expectations ruined the movie for me. Was I expecting this big, epic Avenger-style movie? Like, you go back to seeing Avengers Age of Ultron, and then seeing Captain America Civil War, which was basically another Avenger movie.
See, I think I didn't like it for different reasons then, because I didn't mind that we didn't see as many universes as it sounds like you wanted. I didn't think that we didn't get good action scenes. I thought the fight with the Illuminati was awesome.
It was.
Even the fight at the end there with Doctor Strange and the demons and her was decent.
Demon cape.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, my biggest issue was really just there was like the explanation of how the story progressed didn't make sense. I mean, we've already gone over that ad nauseum, so I won't get into it. But that was my biggest gripe about it. Is it just didn't flow right.
It was more madness than multiverse.
Yeah, it was more style over substance, and that's kind of a Sam Raimi trait, honestly. Which I hate to say because I love Army of Darkness. I like the original Spider-Man.
But even in Army of Darkness, it's more these set pieces, and you're seeing cool stuff happen. And
you don't care about the story in Army of Darkness that much. It's just an entertaining.
As long as he's got his boomstick, we're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My thing with it is I think it's just going to be that starting point of all these other things that are going to happen, like Secret War, where we're going to go back. Well, I'm glad they did this movie because then it just opened the world for all of this.
I feel like they tried to put a lot of information into a very short movie.
Well, Sam Raimi wanted it shorter.
Ugh.
Yeah, he was pushing for the lower time frames. Most of his movies are like an hour 30, hour 45.
See, I mean, literally, what was the coolest part of the movie to you guys? The Illuminati stuff, right?
Well, I don't know what you mean by coolest. The thing I was most excited for.
What did you enjoy the most while you're sitting in the movie theater watching it?
So that fight scene with the Illuminati was probably the coolest time that I was just like, this is awesome. Not to mention, I love the way Wanda was portrayed during that scene, just looking absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
But I think the scene I liked the most was when he possessed his dead body and did the whole demon thing. And
I like that. Over. I liked watching you see the Scarlet Witch become the Scarlet Witch. When you finally realize that she's actually bad, everything turns from this beautiful orchard to
in the very beginning.
Yeah. That was a great scene.
Was a great scene.
But I was very let down that she's attacking the
Kamatage?
Yeah, the Kamatage with just the bolts. Like, you have the ability to reshape reality, and you don't.
Well, we don't know if she has that ability there because of all their wards and everything. She might not have had that ability. She might have to break that barrier before she can do anything.
That's another thing. I don't understand why she can't get anything through this shield, and yet she's able to get in the guy's head.
Well,
because every other time we've seen her get in somebody's head, she's like right there and manipulating their mind.
She's stronger.
Sure, but I'm just
saying. Look
at
Charles Xavier, who can from far away go, and look.
He also uses Cerebro.
Sometimes that Cerebro to see certain people, but there's other times where he could be far away, because there's that one scene where Jean is super far away, and he's like, Jean, and she can hear him.
Well, he can talk to them.
That's all she's doing. She's talking to them and getting in their head. You should run. You should do this. And then he runs and knocks over like 10 people, which also, by the way, watch where you're going if you're going to run away. And be
she
scared.
didn't say run like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
run with your hands up.
Be a rude asshole and run into people.
Yeah. Or, like, if she would have said, kill your buddies or something, and I'll spare you, and then he starts shooting things at them and killing them, and that's what brings down the barrier. Okay. He just ran into, like, 7 people.
It did
and, like,
seem weird.
The ward, when they're putting the wards up in the sky, they just have their own select little area. Like, you have 5 people knocked off, and you just have this pinhole. Like, it's not like each one umbrellas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like on Harry Potter, right? All the wizards are putting up their spells and casting the shield over Hogwarts.
Yep.
Like that. Like all their powers combined.
I also like this is most of my complaints were like legit on logic, and this is just more nitpicking. But if you can make those portal rings, right? Why not just like make a portal ring on every side of you, and then she can't get at you, because all that would happen is her stuff would go through the portal.
Right, or portal ring her.
Yeah,
somewhere else.
Yeah, or just be like, hey, instead of staying in this building and waiting for her to bust down the door, seeing as we hear everyone get slaughtered, maybe we should teleport out of here.
Yeah, portal ring the whole building.
Yeah. Or let's go to the mirror dimension right now.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well when they sent her to the mirror dimension. She came right through it.
Yeah.
Which just, again, showed her power when she's actually the Scarlet Witch in Earth 616.
It just seemed like you got all these wizards and whatnot, and they're basically just enchanting bow and arrows.
Well, those are just like disciples.
Yeah, I was like, why are you shooting an arrow?
Now, they weren't just shooting an arrow, it was a magic arrow, but
still,
like, out of all the things that you could do, that's what we're doing.
Are you also all expert archers? Instead of shooting an arrow, why don't we just fire the energy at them? It doesn't make any sense.
Maybe that might be low level. Yeah, it could be the spell. They could also be low level wizards.
Right, I mean, because they could have been practicing that for thousands of years when the only weapons they had were bows and arrows.
And perfecting it, and then it
right. So they haven't gotten to the fact or the point where they have the magic AR-15 yet.
Oh, that would have been great.
I mean, it would have been funny to just see.
Just one, you know what I mean? Like
just that one guy.
I got this, guys.
Rolls out there. Yeah, it's been great. I was hoping for a little bit more, like, Kamatage looked like a joke compared to Wanda, but I think it was supposed to. I think she was supposed to show that she is the most powerful being right now. Which is why I didn't like her ending, which is her, like, kind of sacrificing herself, but I don't think she's actually dead. And only because she comes to the realization that these 2 kids in this one universe think that she's scary.
Well, and that's the thing, like, so much... My first instinct as Doctor Strange would be like, well, why don't we just bring her to one of these universes and let her see, like, these kids are happy with their real mom.
Well, she already saw that.
Well, I know, but it's different when she's dreaming it, and then when she actually, like, goes there and
well, she did get to go there the first time she dreamwalked.
Yeah, but she dreamwalked as their mom.
Sure, but she got to see how much those kids loved her, but that didn't matter to her. That just drove her more.
Right, so I take the kids. I thought the same thing towards the end of the movie. I was like, well, I feel like we could have just skipped this whole part. But then I was also thinking, in order for her to realize that she is the monster, she has to go and do all these things. She's like, I would never hurt anyone. And then she starts thinking, like, fuck, I just killed like 400 people.
Minimum.
Right.
Minimum.
You know, I mean, I went through all these different multiverses just slaying. And I get to this end point where I'm at the point where I'm seeing my kids, and not even my kids recognize me as a mother figure. Like, they look at me like I'm a monster because I've become one.
I don't think I've ever agreed with you more. I think that's absolutely right. She had to go through all of that to get to the point where she's at, to then realize how much of a monster she actually is, comes to that realization. Without all the events of the movie, that doesn't happen. She doesn't realize that she's this horrible thing. My biggest issue is where they go from here with her. If she's not dead, which I can't imagine that she's dead, if she's not dead, are they just gonna... If she's now good now, are they just going to forgive her? Well, she murdered so many people.
Where does she go in the comic books?
I have no idea.
What's after the House of M?
Like, how did she find out about America Chavez?
Well, that was her reading the Darkhold and then probably doing more dream walks or searching other realities for some type of person / creature / something that has the ability to go to other universes. There's probably some spell in the Darkhold that she was able to figure out. Think of Cerebro that can look at all other mutants. There's probably something in the Darkhold that can show you everybody that has some type of gift.
Right, she's searching all of the universes using demons. And at some point, a demon was like, this person has the ability to do this.
All right, fine. But then this is the other thing. So when the Darkhold gets destroyed, she's like, "Oh no, I don't know how to do anything now." And then Wong's, tells her something's written on the wall.
I don't think that it's not that she doesn't know how. It's just a lot of power came from that book, and when that book's destroyed,
well, she doesn't know how to do the spells.
Yeah, she said Wong's like, it's a copy of what was on a wall.
Yeah, sure, but transcribed from the walls.
I understand, but I think the book was infused with power too. So then when it got destroyed, she lost some of that power until she then goes there and realizes, oh, this is all mine. Like, you could see me on the door.
I don't think the book had any power. I think it was that the spells were evil themselves and they had the power. But it's like she's done the dream walking, many times, you would think, right?
You think. You don't know. You only see it
Well, I know,
twice.
but by the justification that she found America Chavez by dreamwalking into tons of different
that
universes.
was my explanation. His explanation made more sense.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, she hasn't dream walked yet. Because when Doctor Strange says that's her holding back or whatever, because she hasn't dream walked to other multiverses. She's just using demons to try to figure out.
That's true.
So, like, she had just done the spell to dreamwalk, and then somebody, that other acolyte of Doctor, whatever, the sorcerer, destroys the book. So that brings her out of the dreamwalk.
Yep.
Because she realized what was happening.
Back to destroying...
Shouldn't she be able to just go right back to dreamwalking?
No, I think you need the book. The book has some power.
I
mean, I think that completely explains it, as you just said, because as soon as the book got destroyed, if she knew the spell... she'd still be dreamwalking.
Yeah, I agree that the book has the ability to give her the power to do that.
Well, then why the heck is she leaving it lying on the ground while she's dreamwalking?
She probably thought she murdered everybody except for Wong.
She can make anything out of, like, put it in a, indestructible reality box that you make or something.
Again,
don't
part
leave
of
it
this
on the
is
ground.
a mother going insane for her kids. So how logical are you thinking? As Mike pointed out earlier, it takes her doing all these things before she realizes she's a monster. She's not really thinking rationally. She's just trying to get her kids, and she's doing it the only way she can know how, by, I still think Mike's right with the demon thing, just sending all these demons in all these different universes after somebody who can potentially show how to get to other universes, and then eventually comes back to it.
How does she destroy the Darkhold in all the universes?
What do you mean she doesn't?
She does. She, at the end of the movie, Doctor Strange looks down at the ground to the Darkhold, and it, like, catches on fire. And he's like, she's done it. She's destroyed all the Darkholds. It's just
the power that she got from being in that temple.
So you just destroy the book everywhere?
In every universe.
And he knows that.
I assume because he's in a different universe, and all of a sudden it just blows up. Burns up. It's a guess, but it's an educated guess from a sorcerer.
So it could be.
Correct.
Also,
it could be another universe.
Why doesn't Wanda just, like, go on Tinder and get knocked up? Why does she have to go to another universe?
Those kids.
Yeah, those specific kids.
Because she
Why?
grew up with them for like 3 weeks.
We don't even know who the father of the kids
Well, she
is.
grew up with them for Vision.
Yeah, well, again, how the heck is that happening?
It's irrelevant.
She's
to
known that
WandaVision.
kids for a solid
But that's what
month.
I'm saying. We don't know that they're Vision's kids.
In that universe, in WandaVision, they are. It's her and Vision's kids.
Sure, but the image of the kids in the Vision she creates is based off her dreams that she's had of the kids. Which apparently dreaming is like you're dreaming other universes.
Correct.
So she had dreamt of those kids, but in those other universes, I don't think it's safe to make an assumption
She never
that they're
dreamt
Vision's
of
kids.
those kids before doing where she takes over the town, or it never says that she did.
Well, what I'm saying is when she made those kids, she made them based off of the vision she obviously had of other kids.
You're making an assumption.
Well, then why are they the exact same looking kids in the other universe?
I couldn't tell you, but you're just making an assumption of going like
pretty
she had
safe
to have
one, I'd
dreamed
say.
and seen these kids.
A pretty safe one.
I disagree.
Okay. Well, regardless, in this version, in this
Well,
universe, we know that Vision's not their dad because one, they
So
didn't
it's
even
Again,
exist.
Wanda is Vision
It's an
is the
unlimited
dad.
universe. So she just happened to find the universe where they looked the most similar. Like,
And
she
had
could
the
have
same
picked
names.
the paint universe where they look like paint. But she's like, well, I'm not really too fond of paint, but I am fond of these children in the infinite multiverse that look exactly like the
and
children
have the
that
same
I had.
name
Right.
and are the same age.
Well, then when you do that, dream walk in there and then figure out who their dad is. Go to your own universe, find that dad, and get
Make
knocked
big
up.
child.
it's probably Vision.
I don't think that's
Why?
a
Why
safe
can't that
assumption.
other universe be a Vision that either is real or turned himself into real with reproductive organs? If you're talking about an infinite amount of universes, that's possible.
I guess so, but it's also we have nothing to base off that they're Vision's kids.
Well, we do, because when you're talking about WandaVision, they're his kids. It's based off of that.
But that's just her connecting the dots of I've had this potentially dream of these kids, or
That's
this is
never mentioned once.
okay. So it doesn't make any sense. She came up with this vision of these kids out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and then she finds a universe where her just created randomly kids.
Well, that could have
exist.
happened in a different universe, too, where she made up these kids, but then instead of them going away, they stayed.
Yeah.
Sure, but I don't think that's what happened in the universe she's going to.
You don't know that.
Yeah, it's infinite. Like,
Yeah.
it could be literally anything.
Well, then
The stork could have brought them. I don't know.
Right?
okay,
They-
but then at that point, if they're created in this other universe and she somehow made them stay,
Mm-hmm.
she's more powerful in this universe with the Darkhold. So certainly she'd be able to do the same thing in this
Again,
yeah,
universe.
you're
that's
still
the
thinking of
plot
it
hole, right?
rationally,
She
too,
she should be able to easily make her children again.
Yeah.
But
But you're also thinking rationally, not like an insane mother who's going on a killing spree.
Well, it's more like I'm thinking common sensely.
Yeah, but how many times have you been angry and not used common sense?
I mean, it's not like she made this snap decision to keep going to.
Well, she also got corrupted by the Darkhold.
Okay.
So you got corrupted, you're not really thinking, you're just, I want my kids, I want my kids, I want my kids.
Well,
And
then
the longer
maybe
you don't
Doctor
have them-
Strange or Wong or somebody
They're
could
like,
be like,
"Hey."
hey, instead of killing all these people.
Hey, calm down. Just conjure your children.
Yeah, but she's been away from everybody. And the first time someone came to talk to her, they needed her help. No one's gone to her since everything happened in WandaVision.
Right, but at the very beginning, when he realizes that she's evil and she's like, I need her power to see my children, he should just be like, so make your children. Stop. Make your children.
Yeah, I don't. I also don't know if she can make her children. That's just my assumption. In that universe, it could have been that she just kept her children.
She's
it
a baby
also could have
maker all day.
been that Vision was a real person rather than someone that they made. You don't know. It doesn't explain that. And you seem to be getting hung up on that, Corey, and I don't understand why. Well, why can't we know who the dad is? And why can't we do this?
Well,
Like, it seems
my
always gotta know
only
who the
point
dad
is if we make the assumption that it wasn't Vision, then she should be able to potentially find the same guy in her universe.
You know
and have
that's
kids.
not true, though, because if that guy had fun with himself one more time, then those sperm aren't there. It's different sperm.
Well, I
which
get
then means
that
it's
it's
a
not
different
exact
kid.
science, but she could just make the
She
kids.
wanted those kids, those specific kids. That was the whole premise.
Sounds like a pedo to me.
Oh my god.
But I still think this movie has the ability to be looked on favorably in the future if it sets up things.
It's a good stepping stone movie.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, we had, like I said, the last movie we saw one universe and with other characters coming in. This one we saw 3 universes with other characters coming in.
They're lucky that the MCU is already so established, though, because if you take out all pre-existing movies and use this as like a launch pad for a franchise, it would die.
Oh, it absolutely would die. Well, maybe, because you wouldn't have all those high hopes either for this movie.
Again, mine was not so much the expectations. Yeah, it's fine. I'm saying my opinion, so it is me.
Again, we're still, like, we're in the minority although we're giving it like 6.5 to 7.5. So I guess we're almost exactly where everybody else is, because it's at like the 80% for critics and the 70% for fans.
Yeah, I don't think that's like a flop, but
no. And Marvel has done worse movies, as we've said, with Inhumans. I take this movie over Black Widow.
Eternals.
Oh yes,
bad,
yeah. And Inhumans, the TV show. But I take this movie over Black Widow. I'd rather watch this than Black Widow.
Yeah, no.
Well,
you'd rather watch Black Widow than...
I thought Black Widow had a very good storyline.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't think it had a good storyline.
You know, there were things that could have been fleshed out better. So I feel like Doctor Strange looked very well, but it didn't have a very linear storyline.
Doctor Strange is what should entertain me more, because I find his character better, and I find this premise better. And I'm not really a big fan of like the Winter Soldier, Black Widow kind of heroes, because they're basically just like super spies. Winter Soldier's got a metal arm. That's like the only big thing about him.
He's a super soldier.
I don't care. He's boring.
He's almost the exact same thing.
He's got a metal arm. He's kind of strong. Like, great.
That's Captain America.
Captain America has a sweet shield he throws.
He's got the arm that caught the shield.
Captain America's not my favorite hero either. I just really liked how he was portrayed in the MCU.
He's good.
But
it's because it was America's ass.
That's why I'm saying, like, Black Widow felt like a better fleshed out story. I just think it was better made than this movie was. Having said that, I do think I would rather watch this movie again than Black Widow.
Yeah, I would definitely rather watch this one again than Black Widow. And I think we all agree more than Eternals.
No, that's my favorite.
Yeah, Doctor Strange left me with more questions than answers.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though.
I don't think it was intentional, though.
Right.
That's when it's bad.
Whereas
it's
Black
not like
Widow
a creative director.
Black Widow was very cut. Like, this is how it is. You could follow it very easily to an end point.
It was also 5 years too late. That movie should have been way
agreed.
Before.
Yeah, I mean, if that would have come out before, what, Thor?
No, it wasn't after. It was after that. Like, it should have been sometime after the first Avengers that you could have done her movie, and then it would have been fine. It would have kind of fit the timeline.
Well, it gives you a backstory to Barton, right?
Only a little bit of his backstory, not much of it. They actually talk about his backstory in that movie of going, well, what about this and what about that? When's the last time you were here? You get to find out the differences with the coat and all that thing. Like, it just didn't give much. Not to mention Taskmaster was awful.
Yeah.
Or at least this version of...
I hated Taskmaster in this.
I'm really hoping that was just a program of Taskmaster rather than it actually being the supervillain. Because it was a computer program loaded up into almost the dead girl.
Yeah, stupid.
So I'm hoping that they can correct that in the future and actually do a solid Taskmaster that was just based off of. So that movie for me is one of the lowest. Yeah.
Black Widow?
One of the lowest, yeah.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, what's your 5 worst MCU movies?
Eternals is 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Well, it was a long movie.
Yeah, no, Eternals, God, probably this Doctor Strange.
Oh, God, no.
Well, I mean, you said worst 5.
Yeah.
I'm not saying in any order right now.
Okay.
But
I thought you were saying it was the second worst.
Thor, Dark World.
Yep.
You
didn't like Iron Man 3, right?
Iron Man 3.
I did not like Iron Man 3 either.
I'm in the minority between all of us, and I love Iron Man 3.
So what's that? That's 4 if
you didn't like Iron Man
Doctor
2.
Strange. I did not like Iron Man 2.
That was
I feel like I
worse than
liked Iron
Iron
Man 3 more than I liked Iron Man 2, though.
As you should. It's a
Yeah,
better movie.
probably Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Thor Dark World, Eternals, and then probably this Doctor Strange.
So
I
Black
can't think of
Widow
a
isn't in
fifth.
the top 5 worst movies.
Hulk.
No.
Well, which Hulk?
Well, there isn't
Yes.
a Hulk MCU. He's talking MCU, right?
Well,
If we're talking
I'm talking
superhero
MCU.
movies, that opens up the
Just
door.
the MCU main timeline. So you have to ignore the. Well, didn't they kind of make that canon?
The Incredible Hulk?
No, the other one.
No.
They didn't. I thought
They
you
made
see
it canon for Incredible Hulk.
for the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton.
Yeah.
They make the
it's a
other
sequel.
Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one is canon. If it's a sequel,
For Incredible Hulk.
Hulk and then Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, but those aren't MCU universe.
The Incredible Hulk absolutely is. That's who that is. Mark Ruffalo is Edward Norton. It's the same universe. Those aren't separate universes.
Oh, I thought that was before the MCU started.
The first Hulk one was,
Yeah.
But the Incredible
the
Hulk
other one might
is
have been.
in the timeline. But when you're watching the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, you see flashbacks of showing that original terrible movie.
Yeah.
So that's, if we count that one's up there.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a bad movie.
Number 2.
Yeah, I'd probably say that might even be number 1.
Eternals.
Wait, which one are we?
Eternals is bad.
So you're counting both Hulks?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, the first Hulk instead of Iron Man 2 from.
But Iron Man 3 is still in there.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
Oh, God,
That movie's
it's such
garbage.
a better movie. No, it's not.
It
I
was
love
bad.
Iron Man 3.
They introduced the Mandarin as like, which should be one of the.
They retcon that in the perfect way they could, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it still was crap.
His performance, Ben Kingsley's performance as the Mandarin, was so good
I was
up
surprised
until
how
that reveal.
how little money Shang-Chi made, because that was a good movie.
It was also during the pandemic.
Yeah, but I think it
It still made
Like,
money.
Straight to Disney Plus.
It also, if you didn't have the cameos of Marvel, you could have shown me that movie and just said it was like a kung fu movie.
Yeah.
And I would have been like, yep.
Yep. And it really wasn't even to the end, right? You just see Wong at the end, and that's it.
Well, you see Wong throughout it. You see
Wong right in the beginning
Abomination.
where they're fighting. It's
Yeah.
Wong and
Abomination.
Abomination. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right in the beginning where they're fighting in the little pit there.
Yep.
That you know it's that. And then not to mention you see Ben Kingsley in it.
Right.
And then you also get to
So there's that short, too. Have you seen the
short,
Mandarin
yeah.
short
I have seen that.
where he gets abducted
Yep.
from prison?
Yeah, I saw that one. I like that they had to do a short because before they knew they were going to do these big giant movies that are spanning years and years, there's the end credit scene where it's Robert Downey Jr. talking to the Abomination, I think, and he wants to recruit him into the Avengers. And they had to retcon that with one of those little 7-minute segments, and it's Agent Coulson and the other guy, I can't remember his name. He ends up being part of Hydra. And they were like, well, we need to go try to get Abomination, but we don't really want Abomination. Who do we send to basically piss him off and he's not going to say yes? They're like, oh yeah, Robert Downey Jr. Let's just send Iron Man to go try to recruit him. And it's because they tried to retcon the end of that Iron Man movie. But I don't think anybody knew that these movies were going to blow up to this level where we're 20-something movies in. And that movie, by the way, Shang-Chi, made like $400 million.
I just mean compared to I don't know if it made that much, but compared to the other MCU
Statistics.
movies, it just seems like it was underwhelming.
Yeah, well, Eternals made less. Black Widow made even less.
Yeah, well, again,
Black Widow made less than
Yeah.
Eternals?
Yeah.
$379.
So I feel like all the proceeds from that were because of the hype for it.
Of Eternals?
Yeah.
Agreed. It's also got a gigantic cast with
Yeah.
people that I think most of us enjoy. And Salma Hayek's in it. Angelina Jolie. I can't remember his name. The guy who got in super great shape.
Remy.
Kumail Nanjiani.
There it is. So there's so many characters in that just look like, oh, this is going to be great. But they spend 90% of the movie getting the band back together, and it just doesn't work. And it had the almost obvious twist that I've seen in a Marvel movie. That he was the bad guy. Of course, he was.
I like seeing the Celestial over Earth.
It didn't
that was a
add
good
a lot.
scene.
You talking about the very end?
Yeah.
Was that the post credit or just the very end?
I don't remember.
I know.
I tried to forget.
In one of the post credit scenes, you get to hear Blade's voice. So we've got that movie. I think that's due out next year for Blade.
Yeah, that I don't like the actor who plays Blade, but he does look like he might be pretty good in it.
I don't know why
It's not Wesley Snipes.
I just don't like him. Everything I see him in, I'm not a big fan. And I know he's supposed to be like this world-renowned actor.
Who is it?
Mahershala Ali. I'm butchering the first name.
No, I think you got it.
He's played in a bunch of things.
He was in Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Cottonmouth.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
I think it was...
You don't think he's going to play a good Blade?
No, I think he will. I just haven't liked him really in anything I've seen him in, is what I said.
He was fine as Cottonmouth.
He was okay.
Is Ryan Reynolds coming back?
So, the writers of this movie, well, he wasn't playing Blade, but he was
he was in Blade, though, right?
No.
He was one of the...
So, speaking of Ryan Reynolds, they had planned on a Deadpool cameo in this movie. Like, the writers were talking about it. But they didn't think it fit the movie. And now, after seeing the movie, I agree. This movie didn't have much comedy. It was more in the horror element, which I'm fine with. So I don't think Deadpool would have been really great.
That's a storyline they should do, but it would have to be an altered universe or like a what if episode. But there's a story called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
And it's just like about him killing everybody.
Because he can't die. He might as well kill people.
There's one where Punisher does it too, because I guess technically Punisher is like will be reborn if he's killed.
Well, they haven't explained that in any of the Marvel stuff so far.
Well, I mean,
so far, Punisher is the most lackluster. Has zero powers. He's just
in the movies, in the TV show, he was fantastic.
No, I like the TV show a lot.
No,
right?
no powers. But
he's just
Black Widow has no powers. Hawkeye has no powers. They're just there, and they're good at certain things. What is that?
She has powers. In fact,
I mean, that's basically in the first time we see her in the first Avengers, where she's playing the damsel in distress.
Right, but she's been trained since like birth.
Yeah,
and he is he ex-military?
Yeah,
Punisher. That's it.
Yeah, ex-military, then turned cop / FBI.
Frank Castle.
Yeah. Like I like the show. It's just
he just starts murdering everybody.
Yeah,
I like his
the homicidal superhero.
He was great.
He's got that like rage battle cry thing he does, which is it's like a battle roar. John Barathel, who plays him, talked about it.
Yeah.
It's like whenever he's about to beat someone's ass, he's like, "Argh!" and like goes in at him.
I don't even remember it, but
he does
I remember
much more scary than
I remember the first season is phenomenal. Second season's less good, but it's still great.
Yeah, it's all on Disney Plus now. I should probably rewatch it.
Which is super weird that it's on Disney Plus, being that graphic and violent. I wonder how much, if anything, that they've cut out, or if they just switched it to just being MA, so people should know, hey, if you're going to watch this, maybe not with kids.
Meh.
Is there any Marvel movies or shows that they haven't put on? Like, I feel like, isn't Jessica Jones on?
Yeah, it's on, well, no, so all those used to be on Netflix, and then that deal ran out, so now they're all on Disney Plus.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Jessica Jones is on Disney Plus,
yeah.
And she's an alcoholic, and
I understand.
And bangs
as soon as all those movies, or excuse me, all those TV shows came over to Netflix, from Netflix to Disney, I was surprised just because they're more of a mature content.
Well, they're not just going to scrub them.
They could have. They shouldn't. They're great shows.
Right.
Most of them, except for not Shang-Chi. That's
Iron Fist.
There you go.
I didn't hate Iron Fist. Everybody seems to hate it.
So
I thought
bad.
It was okay.
The second season especially is one of the hardest things I've had to try to get through.
See, I didn't get through Luke Cage.
Yeah, I know. I
got through Luke Cage 1.
I thought Jessica Jones was
I thought
worse
2 was better.
Jessica Jones for me was worse than either one of those.
Jessica Jones is it's like the best one besides for Daredevil.
The only problem with Jessica Jones is the villain is so
lackluster.
I mean, when you have somebody who can just make you do what you want, and your power is that you're super strong, it's just kind of a boring.
Oh, I 100% disagree. And you guys are in the minority there. Everybody loves Jessica Jones the first season, including the villain. I thought he's a fantastic villain.
I like Jessica Jones.
well.
The first season was okay. The second season was not.
I agree. Second season wasn't as good, but that first season is.
But he has powers.
He can tell you what to do when you do it without being able to.
Yeah, he's like the
Mind
Mr.
control.
Purple or something like that, right?
The what?
His name is like Purple Man or something like that.
Did they ever say that in the show?
I don't know if they do in the show, but that's his character, I believe.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just know.
I think he wears purple as like an homage to it.
Mr. Purple.
Or Purple
It's
Man.
Kilgrave.
Yeah, but I think he's called the Purple Man or
No,
Mr.
it's
Purple.
Kevin Thompson, or better known as Kilgrave.
Yeah.
Purple Man.
He does wear purple in like 1 or 2 episodes, I think. But I don't think he's called
He has a purple
anything other
ascot.
than Kilgrave.
Purple Man. MCU Purple Man. The Purple Man is a supervillain appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. It is Kilgrave.
Well,
Zebediah
Zebediah
Kilgrave,
Kilgrave, which is not Kevin Thompson.
I mean, it's literally got his picture from Jessica
Just
Jones.
saying, his name is Kevin Thompson there, not Jedediah.
Kilgrave.
Zebediah, whatever.
And it says he's in TV show Marvel's Jessica Jones.
He's Kilgrave. It's a better name than Purple Man.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but it's definitely the same character.
Yeah.
Different name. I don't know. The first season to me is still really, really good. Her being a PI, just getting this gritty feel to it. But
it was
nothing
different. Don't get me wrong. It's just
nothing touches the first 2 seasons all 3 seasons of Daredevil.
I also don't like the actress that plays Jessica Jones.
agreed.
Never liked her in anything I've seen her.
I've only liked her in this.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
She wasn't that bad in this, but I still would have picked someone else.
Yeah, I thought she was fine in this, and other things I've seen her in, I haven't been too much of a fan, except for Veronica Mars, but that's a whole other TV show. All right, so to wrap up Doctor Strange, now that we've talked about it, it sounds like Corey wants to lower his grade.
Yeah. I mean 6.
So no more 6.5, possibly. It's a 6.
Maybe 5.5.
Ouch. Mike, you sticking with yours?
Yeah,
6,
again, between a 6 and a 7 is fair. I'd have to watch it again, like Corey said, at home, to give it a little bit more accurate. But I don't think it was bad enough to give it like 60% is almost a failing grade.
It is a failing grade.
Well, it depends where you're
right. So
school
let's
you're
go.
going
Let's
to.
go the college grade here. It wasn't failing.
See, and I have it as like a C, where it should have been better, and some of that's my expectations, some of that's the story, some of those are the plot holes that we just talked about. So instead of a 7.5, I'm thinking I've lowered just to a 7, and I'm solid on 7 until I see it again.
I just think it was a B movie. Usually what we get when we...
That's an 80.
What?
It's a B movie. That's an 80.
We're
upgrading.
That's an 85.
I'm
man.
saying as a genre type,
Yeah.
it fell in the B movie category for me. But it didn't have any of the like cult classicness that makes a B movie be better than it should.
Do you really know it's cult classic until it's years later?
Yeah.
The problem is it's Sam Raimi cameoing all the stuff that made his cult classics.
Yeah, which I think some of it worked. Like him being a Deadite worked for what they were trying for. It was a cool scene.
Yeah, but my point is it's not going to be a cult classic if it's only good things we're referencing other movies that were cult classics.
I mean, there's only 2 references to his other things.
There's
Bruce Campbell,
yeah.
and then that. What other things?
The demons are like straight out. The voices sounded like they were straight out of Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
I didn't think that. And what demons?
When the ones he makes.
No,
into
I
his-
understand, but you never see those demons in Army of Darkness or any of those.
No,
No, you see the
sounds.
skeletons and all the.
Skeletons that are dancing. Yeah, show
They
me the
have
skeletons
this
that are
same
dancing.
voice, and they're being like the same kind of like taunting, punks that they are in Army of Darkness.
I saw no trees having sex with people. So we're all set that we liked it, but it should have been better. Corey dropped his to almost a 5, which is low. But we'll see where it goes next. And we'll kind of go from there. I don't think that the next one that we go see, which is Thor, Love and Thunder, will be bad. But I didn't think this movie was going to be bad either.
I'm really excited for Thor: Love and Thunder, and I think it will actually hold up for me. So
I'm gonna try to go in with no expectations.
Yeah, I agree. I had very high expectations for Doctor Strange, and it's just because that's the style of movie that I wanted to see, and
it didn't give us what we wanted.
Right.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm not going in a Thor movie with that kind of expectation.
See, I think Doctor Strange...
Because Ragnarok was phenomenal.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's going to be very hard.
Movies they've done.
Right, so it's going to be hard to top that.
Well,
it is still
they had the
director.
luck of coming off of Dark World, which set the expectations for Thor movies really low.
Right,
sure,
so that's my problem, is now the expectation is high with Ragnarok. So.
But you also got him again in, what is it? Avengers Ultron. So you got him there too, before Ragnarok. So you got to see that character again.
But Age of Ultron is like the most panned Avengers movie.
That's irrelevant to Thor's character, I meant. Like, one of the issues with Dark World to me is just most of the characters in that movie. They're just not good. Loki keeps pretending to kill himself.
It's basically the villains that ruined Dark World for me. Just a boring villain. Dark elves. Just not that exciting.
Yeah, it really wasn't. Well, that wraps up another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom. Tune in next week where we have a little bit of a departure from talking about superhero stuff to start talking about some sci-fi things that we want to talk about. Next week will be about Star Trek, which will premiere next Monday. Thank you for listening, and enjoy the outro music.